kickstart market Fatafat. We have with us Himen Kaparia of KR Choksi Securities joining in on the technicals, and also ET Now's Kunal Bothra and Soumya Sharma. So good morning and thanks to all of you for joining in. Let's start off with the big mover today, Avenue Supermart, so D-Mart, and this is after Goldman Sachs certainly has given out a very optimistic view on this one. In fact, they are adding D-Mart to their conviction list, and they also of course naturally have a target price of 1,740 rupees. They believe that Avenue of course has underperformed the coverage, grew by almost 22% on a year-to-date basis, and that the concerns around competition etc., which has been the key reason or rather the key negative trigger for D-Mart of late, are according to Goldman Sachs a bit overdone. So it's a high conviction buy from Goldman Sachs on D-Mart, 2.5% higher as we speak. Soumya, what's the news on HDFC AMC?
Well, this is one stock, Movina, that's in focus since today morning after HDFC AMC decided to provide liquidity arrangement to some of the fixed maturity plan schemes. This would include an outlay of close to about 500 crore rupees, and this arrangement would deal with exposure to SL Group companies. However, Morgan Stanley is saying that this move should benefit investors and improve sentiment, and they're maintaining an overweight stance with a target price of 2,000 per share, but at the same time, there are raised concerns by the shareholders, and they are entirely skeptical of this move by HDFC AMC, which is seeing the stock tanking by over 5.7% today in trade.
All right, there you have it. That's HDFC AMC, big loser in trade. Ramco Cements, meantime, and of course there's that news that has come in with respect to its capacity, but on the technicals, Kunal, what are you observing?
Good bounce from the 50-day moving average for the stock price. In fact, today I'm sensing that a lot of the cement stocks have managed to bounce back. So I think after weeks of selling, there seems to be some respite which is coming across. So whether it's the short-term moving averages or the medium-term moving averages, I think that this bounce is more credible in nature. And if you see the stock, sustaining these bounces at least for the end of the day or the remaining part of the session today, then I believe that there could be a case which could be built that the stock has completed its mean reversion process and can rally up higher once again. So Ramco Cement could be a good short-term buy, especially looking at the risk-reward targets of 820 plus and stop loss at 770.
Okay, there you have it. That's the word on Ramco Cement's 2.5% higher. Himen, it's interesting to know that Vedanta continues to be resilient. I mean, last week was a great week for the metal space in general. Today, the uptick in Vedanta continues. What's your observation here?
Well, frankly speaking, Vedanta is slightly oversold on the intraday chart. The weekly mechanical indicators are in buy mode, indicating resilience. I have a feeling a recovery seems to be possible. It's been stagnant with a mild positive bias. So I feel a recovery, stop loss 163, target 172. Moving on.
Okay, there you have it. That's the word on Vedanta, 1.7% higher. Asian Paints, meantime, and it's a big downgrade coming in from Goldman Sachs. It's from buy to a neutral stance, with them also reducing the EPS estimates for FY21 to 24 by 2 to 6%. And they do believe that the lower decorative paints volume is the main assumption. Remember that for the last many quarters, Asian Paints has been able to enjoy double-digit volume growth on the decorative segment, and that's really been the key trigger as well for the stock. The earnings are mostly or more or less judged by the way the company has done on the volume front, as is the case with every consumption-facing company. And this time around, they do believe that that may slow down from here on. A key sign as well, by the way, on how the economy is doing, on how paint volumes are picking up. And if it's going to be a bit lower, it's a sign definitely of a bit of a subdued economy as well. Moving on, Kunal, great bounce witnessed in Motherson Sumi for the last few trading sessions. Do you believe there's more to this rally in Motherson?
Seems like Movina, because I think we'd highlighted the stock last week as well when it was trading sub 120 levels. So in terms of chart structure, it looked quite prominent that the stock is forming a short-term base and a rally was supposed to be due. My earlier targets were closer to 128, and the stock is just about gradually heading towards that kind of a target. But I believe that if the market stabilizes and if this bounce is more credible in nature, looking at the robustness of volumes and open interest as well, a lot of technical terms, but I believe the bounce could sustain more, then you could see the stock heading up higher to almost 130, 132 levels. So for anyone who's bought Motherson Sumi, in the earlier recommendation, I think could hold the stock for a target of 130 plus levels, and stop loss could be tailed up higher to 121.
Okay, that's of course Motherson Sumi 2.3% higher now at 125 rupees. I mean, the entire consumption space seems to be trading a bit weak, save maybe one or two names here and there. Your view on Titan?
I think there has been a short-term top which has been made, Movina. So I would have a sell on bounce. The picture has turned negative, demand line has been brief, and the daily indicators have given a crossover sell. So we're looking at a recovery of sorts for the decline from 1260 odd to 1235. It's a sell on bounce.
All right, negative picture in the short term, and hence it's a sell on bounce from Hime. HPCL and OMCs once again are the cynosure of all eyes as these stocks do attempt to climb and claw back in the green. This after crude prices have cracked almost 2% on Monday's trading session. That HPCL I'm talking about, and there you have it on your screens. Crude prices cracking 2%, and that has led to HPCL gaining 2%. Remember, we did have news that the OPEC coalition is unable to decide on a date to meet to consider cutting output further. Remember, the Saudi side of the coalition has been very keen on extending the output cut deal that was entered into back in December, as they believe that the market still remains unbalanced and skewed towards higher supply. Despite the entire Iran conundrum, they are keen on extending the output cut. Russia, however, is not able to decide on a date. 25th, 26th June was what was decided earlier, but now it looks like Russia is not agreeable on those dates. In that entire confusion, crude dropped 2%, HPCL now at 300 rupees. Soumya, what's Morgan Stanley's view on Yes Bank?
Well, yes, all's not very well when it comes to Yes Bank after Morgan Stanley has cut the target price from 125 to 95 per share. In fact, although they're maintaining their stance of underweight, they've also reduced and revised the target price. They believe that reduced earning estimates will give slower loan growth, and they've also reduced return on assets for FY19 to 21 to 0.4 to 0.7%. In fact, they see increased challenges on capital raising given the price fall, and they say that dilution risk is high given the high capital requirements. But however, we're seeing a slight up move in the stock, gaining by over 0.5%, but they have revised their target price for Yes Bank.
All right, that's the recommendation then coming in on Yes Bank from Morgan Stanley. A big cut on the target price as well, by the way. Okay, Kunal, Power Grid, what is it that you're witnessing in this stock? Why have you flagged this one off?
So again, a low beta stock, and many of the low beta stocks, especially in the last few weeks of this heightened market volatility, have come back into the thick of price trends. They've stopped falling. Names like NTPC, ONGC, even Power Grid are showing signs of breakout. And generally when you see swing breakouts on a market which is just about stabilizing in a sector or in a group of stocks which have been more contra in terms of the behavior, you generally expect that should result into a trend in the making for these stocks. Power Grid is one of them. It's confirmed a swing breakout today on the short-term charts, and I believe that the stock should sustain this rally. I think the next targets for Power Grid should be closer to this swing high, which is around 210 levels. So I think that would be a good buy at current levels as well.
All right, there you have it. That is Power Grid, 1.6% higher in trade. Remain today, once again, Zee Entertainment and some of these media stocks are attempting to, post a nice uptick. Your view on Zee?
I would be slightly positive if I were to take a slightly near-term view, Movina. I would have a hold. It's stop loss of the 333, target of 355 and 361. It's on the verge of giving an upward bar reversal today. We have a 4.5% long build-up. Some of the daily indicators are turning positive. Simply put, a recovery or a bounce is around the corner.
Okay, so yes, from a short-term perspective, Heyman is quite optimistic on the stock. Okay, meantime, let's take a look at Bandhan Bank. In fact, the financial space today seems to be pretty optimistic. We are seeing some green on the screen over there. By the way, Bandhan Bank, of course, has that additional news with respect to the cuts in interest rate, on loans. On micro loans specifically, they've cut the interest rate by 70 bips to 17.95%. But like I said, the entire financial space, in fact, even if you pull up some of these NBFCs, they as well are gaining smartly. Bandhan Bank is not being left out in that uptick. Speaking of financial names, and Soumya, ICICI Bank today, big gainer.
Well, yes, this is on back of a positive note by Macquarie, wherein they say that ICICI Bank remains their top pick. They've raised the target price to 525 per share from 465 per share. They say that ICICI Bank has been cautious in their lending to the NBFCs, and they see focusing on risk-adjusted operating profit. And under the new CEO, ICICI Bank has revamped its risk appetite, and it's a good bet when it comes to the entire banking and financial space, and in fact remains Macquarie's top pick, stock gaining by over 2.03% today.
Okay, yes, 2% higher for ICICI Bank, 422 rupees. I mean, today, once again, the gas-based stocks, IGL, Gujarat Gas, are seeing a nice uptick come by in trade. What do you recommend, Himen, on a Gujarat Gas?
Mubina, frankly speaking, there isn't any directional bias. We look a bit toppish, but no clear bias. We've been moving sideways for 13 trading sessions. And it seems to be going nowhere, in a range between 178 on the downside and 194 on the upside. So action could happen only above or below. So I believe if it's a short-term view, one needs to exit and do something when it crosses the high or breaks the low.
Okay, exits, that's the clear-cut strategy coming in on Gujarat Gas from Himen. Kunal, we were talking about how the financial space is buzzing. LIC Housing as well is not being left out over there.
Absolutely, Mubina, and look at the way the stock opened up. So it opened, I think, marginally lower than what was yesterday. Managed to come back quite strongly. In that process of doing it, it's formed a bullish candlestick pattern. It's more of a bullish engulfing pattern, on the daily charts. And if the stock maintains this kind of a price pattern till the end of the day, then I think it could, signal a strong bullish reversal on the short to medium term charts as well. So LIC Housing could be a good bet, and especially looking at the longer term charts and the short term or the intraday candlestick pattern, I believe there could be a case you might see the stock heading up significantly higher from current levels.
All right, 555 is the target that, Kunal is watching out for LIC Housing Finance. Quick break right here on the show. Do come right back. We'll continue with the countdown of the big movers and shakers. Welcome back. You're watching Market Fatafat right here on ET Now. Let's continue with the countdown and see the crack witnessed on the stock price of DHFL, a big loser in trade. And of course, no doubt the losses do continue on this company that has, of course, struggled. 71 rupees now in the stock, 7% gone at the day's low. This after BNP Paribas Arbitrage has sold 15.7 lakh shares at a price point of 78 rupees. It's one of the few funds that have now started exiting, and this is something that has also added to the pressure felt on the stock of late. Okay, well, let's talk about another big loser in trade. That is, I think, okay, let's talk about Canfin Homes before we take on board the next stock. And Himen, we've been talking about the financial space. Canfin Homes, Himen, what's your recommendation?
Well, we've taken support on the 55-day exponential moving average today, Mubina. A small 1.5% long build up as far as the futures is concerned. Yes, there is positive divergence on the intraday charts, crossover buy from the oscillators. Hold, stop loss 337, target 355, small bounce.
Okay, that's a whole call on Canfin Homes, which is 2.7% higher. Soumya, Dabur, meantime, big loser in trade, and I think it's a reason why we are seeing the entire FMCG space stay a bit sluggish.
Well, yes, it's cracking in trade today after Goldman Sachs has downgraded Dabur to sell with a target price of 334 per share. Well, they say that they see high competition in juices, which has been a growth driver for Dabur until FY15, and the entire competition in this sector has put Dabur under a tough spot, and also there's renewed aggression from Colgate to impact, which is going to impact the oral care sales for Dabur, and this is what's seeing the stock react down by over 3% today.
Okay, so that's that big downgrade on Dabur, which is causing it to crack under pressure. Kunal, we were talking about Gujarat Gas, and in line with that, we also see IGL stay pretty steady in trade. Nice uptick seen over there. Kunal, your view?
Absolutely. On the 27th of May 2019, there was this big volume candlestick for the stock price. There was some sort of a block deal which happened for the stock, and from 310, the levels the stock climbed up to 330 in just a matter of short span of time. Now, what that volume pattern has done, candlestick has done, is that the stock, the base of the stock, which was at 310, has lifted up higher to almost 330 levels. The stock has managed to ride this market volatility as well, and I think that's a very strong sign which is coming across because of this change of volume pattern for IGL. I believe that the market stabilizes, IGL could come back to hitting its swing high. So even if you're a short-term trader, I believe IGL could be a good bet at 338 for a target of 350 plus, which is the previous swing high.
Okay, so that is the recommendation on IGL. By the way, it's at the day's high, 1.6% higher. Himain, Cox and Kings is something we want to flag off for the simple reason that yes, it has been declining for I think the last 8 to 9 trading sessions. Today, however, this one is attempting to rebound. Would you read much into it?
Mobina, I don't think so. It seems more like a dead cat bounce. We're in a short, medium, longer term downtrend. We posted a fresh all-time low. It's woeful. The performance has been abysmal. So yes, there are some positives. Oversold, a bounce, yes, but sustainability is zero. So it's a sell-on bounce.
That's Cox and Kings attempting to rebound 1% higher, by the way, completely given off those gains. Okay, Soumya, Bajaj Holdings and you know, the Maharashtra scooters effect is playing into this holding company as well.
Well, yes, Bajaj Holdings has indeed acquired an additional 27% stake and has raised their total stake in Maharashtra scooters to around 51%. Now with this, their entire holding in Maharashtra scooters stands at 51%. They've acquired this stake for an approximate value of 222 crore rupees. Western Maharashtra Development Corporation has transferred their stake to Bajaj Holdings, and with this, Maharashtra Scooter becomes a subsidiary of Bharat Holdings with immediate effect, stock gaining by over 1.75%.
Okay, so that's Bajaj Holdings 1.8% higher. And by the way, for those who are uninitiated, Maharashtra Scooters has been a stock that has touched a record high recently. It was a massive rally witnessed in that small cap stock. HCL Technologies, and while the stock seems to be a bit quietish in trade, it's made a major acquisition. It has acquired 100% of a US-based company, Mobiquity Inc. But this is via 63% India-based subsidiary, Hexaware Technologies. Now, Fitch Ratings as well, additionally, says that HD Global's rating headroom is going to narrow on account of this Mobiquity acquisition. That's Hexaware's, global rating headroom. And additionally, we do have an upgrade from Nomura to a neutral, that as they believe that the acquisition of Mobiquity is a step in the right direction. So that's a recommendation coming in. Kunal, what is it that you're observing in Praj Industries?
A stock which is bouncing off from its 200-day moving average, but what's more important, Mubina, is the kind of chart patterns on the indicator front as well for the stock price. Earlier, I think last month the stock had hit a low of 119. It rallied to almost 151 post that, and now it's corrected back to almost levels of 130. So in that process of doing it, the stock has also shown a bullish pattern on the RSI as well, which I believe is a case in point that the stock could form a short-term base. Also, the stock has tested its 200-day moving average, which is now acted as a strong support for Praj Industries. So a lot of technical factors indicating that the stock could form a short-term bottom and ready for a rally yet again, almost to levels of 150, 151.
Okay, so that is Praj Industries 2.5% higher. Tata Sponge, and look at the way that stock is falling. It continues to fall, by the way. Third straight session of a decline witnessed in this stock, and in the last 3 trading sessions, including today's, we have seen a 10% fall. Like I said, the metal stocks have been weak in general. Yesterday as well, we saw a massive fall of almost 6% combined Tata Sponge because of the entire drop in the Nifty Metal Index. Today as well is being followed up by more selling pressure. Okay, meantime, the big news, of course, is coming in from Jet Airways. This after it's official that lenders have dragged Jet Airways to the NCLT to kickstart the IBC process. Rahul Kumar now joins in on the phone line for an update on the same. Rahul.
Well, indeed, lenders have dragged Jet Airways in NCLT, and they have asked for an urgent hearing because 2 operational creditors have already moved to NCLT under Section 9, which deals with operational creditor, and their matter was listed on 20th. Now, lenders want to hear their matter before them, so that's why NCLT will hear the lenders' matter tomorrow in Mumbai. Well, let me tell you that Jet Airways owes more than 8,500 crore to these lenders, and lenders have tried many ways for investment. They wanted some out of court settlement. They were also in talk with various investors, but since they failed, and they have now moved to NCLT for seeking their resolution plan.
Okay, that's Jet Airways locked in lower circuit right from the word go. This is on account of this all-important news piece that we at ET now broke for you right here on the show. Okay, Soumya, meantime, along with Jet, even Interglobe Aviation is a bit skittish today in trade. But what's the reason for this one? And it's interesting to note that despite the fall in crude, there is no support for these aviation companies. The stock price, of course, is just about gaining 1%.
Well, yes, the latest comes in that the company is buying $20 billion of engines from CFM for boosting its 280 Airbus aircraft fleet. Well, let me tell you that CFM is a joint venture between General Electric Company and France Safran Group, and this buying of engines is going to support new LEAP 1A fleet, and Indigo has also signed a long-term service agreement which is keeping the stock resilient in trade today.
All right, that's Indigo just about holding on by 1%. And yeah, like I said, I stand corrected actually. There is a bit of a support coming in from the crack in crude prices. On that note, out of time. So Himain, Kunal, Soumya, thank you for joining in and sharing your views on individual stocks. We will wrap it up. Coming up next is Markets at Noon.